Mate. I should put the new logo up here. This is the old logo, but we'll keep it. So what's going on, folks? It's been a while. It's been a couple months. Last time you saw me, I was in Brazil. Now I'm back in New York doing some business over here. Maybe next time you see me, I'll be back in Brazil or Argentina or Paraguay, Uruguay, who knows. This is just a live Mate Circle. It's going to talk about some random stuff. Hopefully mostly Mate related. We'll see how it goes. As always, if you guys have any questions, type them in. If anybody wants to join the circle with video, let me know. I'll send you a link. Pardon the noise outside. So if you want to join the circle, feel free. Let me know in the comments section, and I'll send you a link. Anybody could join. Otherwise, just sit back and relax and watch however this unfolds. Let me just check my system and make sure that everything's running properly. Always something, eh? All right. Yep, I think we're good. All right. So, salud, drinking some Erva. We'll talk about Erva definitely today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dave Mate, the founder of circleofdrink.com, international Yerba Mate community. If you don't know what Yerba Mate is, we'll start at the basics. Mate is a plant, a holly plant, Ilex paraguayensis. There's about 400 species in this family, Ilex, but there's only about 7 or so that people drink. Mate being one of them. Mate is native to Paraguay, but it is naturalized in the southern cone region of South America, which is Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil. But it's mostly grown in Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay. Not really grown in Uruguay. There's a little bit grown here and there in Uruguay, but it's not really commercially grown there at this time. So Mate, I started drinking it in 2009. I was living in Argentina, and I know many of you guys have heard this story already, but for those of you who never heard this story, I was living in Argentina, and I saw people with Gourd, and I saw people with the Bombisha, and I saw people with this thermos, and they said, hey, come on over here, whatever your name is. They didn't even know who I was. I didn't know who they were. It was my first night in Argentina in 2009. I was living at one of these like all-inclusive schools where you live there and you study there 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I literally just started drinking this concoction my first night. And I was like, okay, cool, interesting. I found it really hot. I didn't really get into it. But what I took from that night was the community aspect of Mate. I was a stranger. And they literally said, come into my circle. Come sit with us, come talk with us, come share this drink. And I was really impressed. I was like, wow, I don't even know these people. They're inviting me to share this drink, share this Bombisha with them. And that was my beginning with Yerba Mate. This is in 2009. And then I would say maybe for the first 6 months during that era, I started experimenting with Yerba Mate and going out to different parks. In Argentina, Buenos Aires, and I noticed that every single time we would form a circle, people sitting around in a circle, and I said, okay, well, this is a good metaphor because we're sitting in a circle and we're sharing, and the circle is the power, the circle is the connectivity, that's the symbolism, that's the metaphor of connecting together. So I said, oh, wow, well, this is more than a drink. This is more than tea. This is more than just some herb you throw in a cup with the Bombisha. This is something that brings communities together. This is something that transcends race, transcends geography, transcends financials, transcends everything you could think of, sex, what have you. And here we are drinking and sharing and having a good time. So what's up, Danny? How's it going? So I was really impressed. But it wasn't until about a year later, now we're heading into 2010, when it clicked And I remember the day it clicked. I was visiting New York at the time, and I was in my garden, and I was drinking yerba mate, and I was reading a book. And thanks, Danny. I appreciate that. I was reading a book, and I'm really aware of just how my mind works on a daily basis. And I'm always trying to keep track of like how am I thinking, how is my thought process, how are my ideas, what am I seeing, what am I missing, am I playing the game of chess properly in my mind? And I noticed that I was really comprehending the information throughout these books I was reading better, and I was like, what is going on? Why am I able to absorb so much more information, so much more efficiently and rapidly? And I said, well, it has to be the yerba mate. That's the only thing that changed in my life during that era. And then I researched it, and I said, okay, well, is there anybody else that has experienced these cognitive benefits from yerba mate? And yes, there were hundreds, thousands of people who also said yerba mate is good for the mind. Yerba mate helps you think better. Yerba mate gives you that creative clarity, crispy, creative thoughts, no crashing effects. You just drink it, and you feel good. You feel crystal clear. You just feel happier. I'm not saying that yerba mate is the answer to sadness or the answer to depression or the answer to any negative thing that may be happening in your life. But the common denominator that I would say 90% of yerba mate drinkers find would be clarity of mind, improved mood, improved well-being, and not to mention the ongoing list of so many health benefits that it almost sounds unreal. Helps with diabetes, helps lower high blood pressure, destroys colon cancer cells, helps you sleep, helps you boost your metabolism, helps you lose weight, just helps you. I really don't know of any other herb on the earth that has this particular combination, this particular package of benefits, both physiological, psychological, and not even mentioning the spiritual benefits of yerba mate. Because, that gets into what's your relationship with yourself, what's your relationship with the other energy forms around you, the other people, the other animals, the other plants around you. Mate seems to help enhance all of these things. It helps to facilitate connectivity between you and other life forms on this planet. So it sounds like madness, I know, and it sounds like magic, and it sounds like it's too good to be true, but you will only know this after you start drinking yerba mate tea. I always tell people, give it a month. Even if you don't like the taste, because mate has a bittersweet taste, and I love the bittersweet taste to it. That's great. Brian, what's going on? Maria, how you doing? Salud, ¿cómo estás? Mate has a way of, even if you don't like the taste, it has a way of pulling you back. Like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you may find yourself wanting to drink mate again, even if you didn't like it the first time. And then after 3-4 weeks, you're like, this is it, man. Like, mate for life. Like, I literally have been drinking mate every single day for coming on 12 years now. Every single day. Yeah, there's been times when I didn't drink it 1 or 2 days for some particular reason, but I would say, roughly speaking, every single day for a decade, over a decade, I've been drinking yerba mate. I love this stuff. I swear by it. I drink it every day. I kind of just need it. Am I addicted to it? Don't tell anybody. Yes. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think addiction has more to do with personality, to tell you the truth. I don't believe in addiction with substances. I believe in either you have an addictive personality or you don't. And if you don't have an addictive personality, you're not going to be addicted to anything, because it's just not a part of your core DNA. That's my theory. But I do drink it every day, and if I didn't drink it for a day or two, I would be like, I'd be okay. I've done that before, but it just makes sense to keep on drinking it. It's like my secret weapon, really. Leonardo, what's going on? Mendy, actually, for those of you who want to try yerba mate, and for those of you who are watching this video, I have a surprise for you, just for you guys. It's going to be 35% off for this entire weekend, starting now until Monday. 35% off everything just for you guys who are watching this. Metero35 is the code. Use that, and you're going to be able to save. Let me keep this up for a couple seconds, and then I'll probably drop it back later. So, I was speaking to an executive in Manhattan yesterday. Really nice gentleman. He gave me a call. And what I love about Circle of Drink customers, they're not scared to give us a call. And it's usually going to be me on the phone. And they're just so smart. You guys are the smartest people I've ever come across in any business that I've ever been associated with. And obviously I'm biased, but I don't know what it is. But there's just some really in-tune people who drink yerba mate and who happen to be Circle of Drink customers. You guys have taught me so much. I've been on the phone with MDs, engineers, nurses, doctors, construction workers, janitors, yogis, all sorts of people from all over the world. And I would say 99% of the time when I'm speaking to a Circle of Drink customer, they're teaching me something. They're teaching me something that I didn't know. And I love that. I love learning. Music, absolutely. I just love learning, and I can't stop learning. And I feel like mate and learning go like this. They just go hand in hand. That just works perfectly. If you are someone that's doing any sort of creative work, physical work, any sort of work, yerba mate will enhance that. It just works. Just works. Salud. So, in all these videos, I always try to address questions I've been receiving lately. And many of these questions have actually revolved around Erva mate. Let me see if I can show you this. I don't have my camera set up properly, but you see this? That's that green. So Erva mate is different than yerba mate. They are both the exact plant, same plant, Ilex paraguariensis. But the plant will express itself differently depending on where it's grown. Also, depending on whether it's cut into a fine powder like this, or if it's not the fine powder. If it's the fine powder like this and it's raw, we consider this Erva mate. Now, technically, it doesn't matter where it's grown. If you see this could have been grown in Argentina, which is highly unlikely, but it could have been. I know this one hasn't, but that's just an example. But the Erva mate has to do with the characteristics. It has really nothing to do with the geography. Though I will say that 99.9% of Erva mate comes from Brazil. So, conversely, if you have a large cut yerba mate that's large cut, that has the stems, that has a little bit of the polvo, which you see in 99.9% of Argentina, that's called yerba mate. Now, if that same exact mate is produced, I'm talking about the same characteristics in terms of the cut, the size of the cut, and the composition of the cut. If that was produced in Brazil, it would still be considered yerba mate. For me, it has to do with the cut, and it has to do with the personality of the mate, which determines whether it's yerba mate or Erva mate. So that's one of the confusions too. And to tell you the truth, guys, the reason why many people are confused around these topics is simply because that information is not out there. Circle of Drink is the only company that's sharing this information, which is ironic because all the major mate companies in South America are not educating anybody about these things. You know why? Because they don't care. And I don't say that in a negative way. I say they don't care in a literal way because they grew up with yerba mate and Erva mate. They literally grew up with them. And these people who are running these companies now are older generation. I'm talking people who are in their 60s and 70s. Some of them are even in their 80s. So the older generation, which controls over 95% of the yerba mate market, this older generation, they really just don't care about educating anyone on the finer sides of yerba mate, because for them, mate is just obvious. It's just natural. Thankfully, we have the children of this older generation who are now just beginning to take over these companies or have a foot in these companies now. And they are the ones who are thinking about the future. They're the ones that are pushing yerba mate and Erva mate into the future, because yerba mate and Erva mate is a very old industry. We're talking several hundred years back in the 1500s, and technically the 1400s is when the yerba mate started to become commercialized. Early 1500s. Give you a little bit of history on that. It's kind of a sad history. It has to deal with slavery. The Spaniards came and conquered, as many of you know, South America. And they installed their Jesuit priests. And these Jesuit priests, they wanted to civilize the native people. And while they were in the forest, they came across the Guarani and the Tupi people. This is exemplified in the movie Mission with Robert De Niro. You can watch that. That kind of goes into what happened during that time. So the Jesuits wanted to civilize these native people, and they noticed that they were drinking something out of a cup, and sometimes they were just chewing it and spitting it out. And they were like, wow, this is interesting. Okay, what is that? What's going on here? And the Tupi people and the Guarani were like, no, sorry, we can't tell you this. So as their stronghold increased over the people, they essentially enslaved them. They called it civilizing them, but they basically put them all into slavery, hard labor, hard work. They took the children from their parents and they put the children in schools, and they taught them Spanish and they taught them Portuguese, what have you. But ultimately, they just ended up killing them. Not necessarily the Jesuits, but later on, the Spanish sent troops, and they basically just massacred all of them. Not all of them, but most of them, which is sad. It's horrible. But during those periods, the Jesuits were trying to understand, how do we commercialize yerba mate? How do we grow yerba mate? And the Guarani people said, we're sorry, we're not going to tell you. We can't tell you. So they outlawed it. They were so angry, they said, no, okay, then it's illegal. Yerba mate is illegal. They made it illegal. Literally, it was illegal for quite some time. And then finally, they realized the secret of growing yerba mate, which was planting the seeds that were excreted from the toucan parrots, the toucan birds. Because as the seed goes through the intestinal tract, it becomes weaker, the shell, and it is now ready to germinate. Once they figured that secret out, then literally, based upon that one secret, they turned yerba mate into probably what's equivalent to a multi-billion-dollar empire. Not million, multi-billion-dollar empire, if you make the equivalent of their funds to common day financial value. It was probably a multi-billion-dollar industry. So from there, they started to export yerba mate all the way down to Buenos Aires. Once it hit Buenos Aires, then it just blew up and expanded. And by the 1800s, maybe mid-1700s, we start to see yerba mate in Europe. Early 1800s, we start to see it in the United States and beyond. And that's when mate first had a chance, in the early 1800s, in the United States at least. But the coffee industry became worried about yerba mate. They said, this is a threat to us. This is too good to become too big. So the coffee industry basically came up with these lies saying, yerba mate is not something you could drink every day. Yerba mate is a medicine. Only drink it when you're sick. So people started to think that yerba mate was a supplement. You're only supposed to use it when you're sick. No. The coffee industry basically squashed the yerba mate industry in the early 1800s when it had a chance to blow up. But it never really did. Thank God Guayaquil came along in 96, and Ecoteas came along, I think, in 98. And those two companies basically single-handedly revived yerba mate in the United States. So thank you, Guayaki. Thank you, Yucatees. You guys are always a part of my thoughts. So that's what I call the second wave, or technically it could have even been the third wave of yerba mate. Then I would say in 2010 era, there was like a fourth wave of yerba mate, and that wave is now. And that wave was where we started to see smaller companies popping up in the United States, promoting yerba mate, promoting the traditions, promoting how to prepare yerba mate. Uh, Thankfully, Circle of Drink was a major part of this fourth wave. Just tooting my own horn here. Simply because out of necessity. The reason why I started the Circle of Drink was because there was no information really, particularly around mate being a gourmet item. There was nobody talking about yerba mate techniques, how to make it in the gourd techniques, different types of bombichas, different types of quillas, different types of cuts, cycles. These words I invented. I had to invent them. They didn't exist. Cycle life. That was something I invented. Um, so I like to see what's happening now. I really do like to see what's happening now with yerba mate. We're on a new frontier. Yerba mate is just changing the game in terms of health, in terms of just stopping their reliance on coffee, stopping their reliance on Red Bull. That's why you see companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola, which both own several yerba mate brands. They both own several yerba mate drinks, which makes sense because they know that mate is coming. They know that this is the wave of tea is coming. Salud. What's up, guys? Let me scroll through some of these comments. Sami, what's up, buddy? Maria's talking about in Uruguay, they're born drinking yerba mate. Yep, that's so true. Canarias, absolutely. Levi, what's up? Mendy, how's it going? What do I think about Guayaki? I think they're an amazing brand. I love their mission. I love their positivity behind their brand. I don't particularly drink Guayaki, not too often. Once in a blue, I'll drink it. But I really like their philosophy. I really like what they're doing. Definitely support what they're doing. They're helping to save the planet. They're kind of catering to sports people, like go out and surf, go out and play the guitar, go out and skateboard. Most yerba mate companies actually, sorry, hold that thought. Let me throw my power in. I'm getting a low power. Salud, salud, salud. Let's get juiced up. So yeah, Guayaki, they're kind of, focused on like a lot of like the health, go outside, come to life. And in fact, I find most mate companies popping up are really focusing on the whole like go outside and climb mountains and run around, and that's great. But that's never really been Circle of Drink's position. Circle of Drink has been more of like an intellectual situation. Like we're kind of going after the intellectuals, the people who are going to be drinking mate to enhance their mind, to enhance their creativity, to enhance their well-being. That's always been like the thrust of Circle of Drink. So that's kind of like where we're going. And, a lot of other mate companies are going in another direction with the whole health. With the whole like get outside and go surfing, go skateboard, which is nothing wrong with that. That's cool. It's just a different direction. Let's see who else is dropping in some knowledge. Oh, yes, yeah. Valeria and Carla, two amazing women from Argentina. I know them both. Really great people. Those two are definitely probably the most important yerba mate educators in South America, I would say. Yeah, hardcore. They're always on TV. They're always promoting brands, and anyone in South America listening to this, definitely look up Valeria Trapaga and Carla Joan. I think, if I pronounced that right, Joan. They are both Argentinian, and they are true connoisseurs of yerba mate in that region. So check them out. I think they both have books. I haven't read them. I should read them. And they're definitely dropping a lot of information and a lot of knowledge. So, people, I already addressed that, the difference between yerba mate and Erva mate. Let's go a little bit deeper into that. Is yerba mate better than Erva mate? Is Erva mate better than yerba mate? Really, there's one of them is not better than the other. They're just totally two different things. For me, Erva mate is more calming. It's more soothing on my system. Simply because it's raw. It's raw. They cut it, they grind it, and within 1, 2, maybe 3 days, it's already packed. So it has a calmer sensation. The Argentinian mate or the yerba mate definitely has a higher potency in terms of like waking you up, getting you going, energizing effects. So they're totally two different things. I would say for the first 7 years, 8 years, I was exclusively drinking yerba mate, exclusively. But over the past 2 years, since I've been traveling to Brazil every year for like 4 months out of the year or so, I really started to accept Erva mate into my repertoire of drinks. So I still drink everything. I drink yerba mate, I drink Erva, but nowadays I drink a lot of Erva, I have to say. Only because, there's no real reason. The reason is I want to become more familiar with Erva, and I couldn't see myself not drinking Erva as well. Like, I can't just drink yerba now. I have to drink Erva because for me, it's a totally different situation. A lot of my Argentinian friends are like, Dave, why did you give up on the yerba? Why did you give up on the yerba? I didn't give up on the yerba. I love the yerba. But the Erva, something about the Erva, I don't know what it is. It's like the Brazilians have a different situation, different vibe. I don't know. I just got to drink the Erva. The Erva, I like that greenness to it. I like that malty flavor to it. Yes, it's much more complicated to make, which turns a lot of people off. Much more complicated situation here in the mate ecosystem. But I always tell people, once you get it, you got it. Once you get it, you got it for good. And it's like, boom, you can make Erva, no problem. Just like Yerba. Yerba is like the easiest thing to make if you compare it to Erva. Yerba, you can't go wrong. You just stick the bombisha in there. As long as it's a spoon bombisha, you're going to be fine. So, not a problem. But the funny thing is like the Argentines and the Brazilians have like a war against each other. It's like the Argentines would never drink Erva, and the Brazilians would never drink Yerba. They're like, oh no. Each one of them were like, no, absolutely not. So I'm like in the middle of both worlds. Speaking of Erva, wait until you guys see what's happening. I think in about 3 months, Circle a Drink is going to be the first company, the first North American yerba mate company to ever produce their own Erva mate in Brazil. That's in the process right now. We have 6 different flavors, custom flavors of Erva mate being produced right now. Circle a Drink's own production in Brazil. And we are going to be the first North American yerba mate company to ever produce an Erva mate coming out of Brazil. So that's coming out in about 3 months, I hope. 3 or 4 maximum. Get ready for that. That's going to be a game changer. Just wait. You're going to see. So what other questions can I answer that people have been asking me lately? The mold situation. People are always worried about using the calabash gourds, and they see the mold. Well, let me tell you right now, the mold is totally normal, totally natural. Uh, Most Argentinians and Brazilians and Paraguayans and Uruguayans just continue to use the gourd throughout this whole natural curing process. Continue to use the gourd. Rinse it out with very hot water every single night and let it dry out every single night. For the first 8 weeks, you may see a little bit of mold. Don't worry about that, because after 8 weeks, sometimes even sooner, depending on the relative humidity of your environment, if it's a very dry area, you're not going to have to worry about that at all. But after about 6 to 8 weeks, the gourd will have a uniform, what I call like an army green, camouflage green color, and it'll begin to dry rapidly. So it won't stay damp anymore. It'll just dry rapidly. It'll have a uniform green color, and there will be no more mold whatsoever, ever, after those 6 to 8 weeks. So during those first several weeks, you may see some mold if you're using a natural gourd. Don't freak out. It's not going to hurt you. It hasn't hurt people. It's fine. I mean, for most, use your own best judgment. But like I said, literally tens of millions of people continue to drink out of the gourd during those first several weeks without any issues. If you have any concern, so, that's one of the biggest things in North America, where people who are just getting into mate and they get the calabash gourd and they're like, Dave, there's mold. Dave, there's mold. It's bad. The gourd is bad. And no matter, how much convincing I do to some people, they're just like, no, the gourd is bad. The gourd is bad. I'm throwing it away. It's bad. The gourd is not bad. You're about to throw away a good gourd. The gourd is totally fine. The mold is actually helping you. It's only attacking the little crevices that has moisture. It's literally eating those little natural materials that contain moisture. Once the mold eats all of that, then there's nothing else to retain the moisture, and there's no more mold. So the mold is actually doing you a favor. It's cleaning your gourd. So don't worry about that. You'll be okay. What else? Let me read these comments. What is the best mate brand, variety, and preparation method to feel more peaceful, euphoria, and relaxed mentally for creative work? Well, there's really no one particular brand or one particular method that'll produce the best results for you in yerba mate. With that said, if I really want high energy and I really want a super boost, I'm going to drink something like Mission Organic Yerba Mate. I'm going to go towards a traditional Argentine yerba mate. If I want that heavy hitting, high energy, I'm going with something like that. Other brands would be like Taragui, Rosamante. I particularly don't drink those brands so much. We sell them because they're popular and they're staples and people know them. But if I had to pick like Anna Park over Rosamante, for me it's a no-brainer. I'm going with Anna Park. If I had to pick Plajadito over Taragui, no-brainer. I'm going with Plajadito. Just because the quality is better. It's just a higher quality. And the people behind those brands like Plajadito and Anna Park, they're just on a whole nother level. Like their level of expertise, their level of care, their level of craftsmanship, their level of gourmet understanding cannot even be compared with, like Rosamante and Taragui. And don't get me wrong, those are great brands, great people. I love those guys. But I just feel like their mate is not on the same level as like a Plajadito or a Liebig or Anna Park. They're on a higher level, I got a topic to talk about. Single source versus mixed source. That's one question I get a lot. So just like wine, you could have mate that's single sourced, all from one source, one region, particularly even one plot of land in some cases. Or you could have mate that is basically pulled from all parts of the country, all different non-connected farms, and you could bring together like 1,000 different bundles of yerba mate and mix it all together. I would say that's about 95% of all the yerba mate on the market, and there's nothing wrong with that. Many of the mates we sell are mixed. But then you have single source mates as well, like Anapar, Plajadito, Brazil Traditional Organic, our own latest mate. These are single source mates. They come from one source, and you can taste the difference. The single source mates have a cleaner flavor profile, a more harmonious flavor profile. And then you have explosive flavor profiles that come from the mixed different sources, not single source. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, some people like that even better because it has like a wilder flavor profile. So there's single source and there's mixed source, but you're not going to know because, again, the mate companies won't tell you these things because they're not mandated to. So you're never really going to know. I drink a lot of single source. I like the harmonious flavor of it. But I like blending mates too. You know, we have about 35 different blends, and a lot of those blends are using different mates from different regions. So that produces various flavor profiles. So to answer your question, Coach, I would just go, if you're looking for high energy, high creativity, I would go with a yerba mate from Argentina. Any strong, traditional yerba mate from Argentina is going to give you that boost. But if you want something more relaxing, more calm and soothing, go with any Erva. Within Erva now, we have our own, let's talk about that. Ervas, we have our own subcategories. Many subcategories of Erva. So I know many of you guys aren't yet familiar with Erva, but Erva you have, let's call it 3 main subcategories. You have Nativa. So Nativa, every time you see the word Nativa, N-I-T-I-V-A, pronounced Nativa in Portuguese, or Nativa in English, this is usually a mate that has a little bit of a bite, but it also has quite a strong undercurrent of green, smooth, malty flavors. Nativas usually are derived from plants that are native. What does that mean? Many people will tell you different things, but basically a native plant is a plant that's been grown for at least 25 years, 20 years. I've seen some plants that are 100 years old. In Nativas, they're usually going to use a lot of these plants that are older, and they may mix it with some of the younger plants. That's how you produce a Nativa flavor profile. So Cultivada has Nativa. Yaqui has an Nativa. Every major Erva mate brand has an Nativa. Then you have a traditional Erva, also known as Chimarrão, which my Portuguese is crazy, I'm sorry. Chimarrão. Basically, when you have a Chimarrão, that means you're going to have your traditional flavor profile, which is like light green, herbaceous, almost like a celery, kale undertones, very light, very soft. These blends usually are about 100% native plants because the native plants are the smoother plants. The older the plant becomes, the lighter the flavor profile is. So as you dig deep into the Ervas, you're going to start to see traditional Chimarrão across the bag. That just means that it's the most traditional flavor profile in Brazil, southern Brazil. And that just means that it's going to be light green. For some of you, you're not even going to taste it. It's just going to be like water. It's very light. But once you build your palate, you'll begin to tell the differences. Then we have Moída Grossa. Moída Grossa just basically means medium cut. At Circle of Drink, we just call it medium. So whenever you see our Yaqui medium, Cultivada medium, Schneider medium, that's the Moída Grossa. With the Moída Grossa, the medium cut, they're using commercial plants. I would say over 90% of the blend is commercial plants. What is a commercial plant? A commercial plant is a plant that's young. 2 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, maybe, because all the mate companies are constantly growing new plants, and they're constantly retiring old plants. Some plants, they just reach their level and they cut them down and they plant new fields. So the Movida Grossa is usually commercial plants. The younger plants produce a more robust flavor profile. So that's where you get your Movida Grossa. And then you have all sorts of other subcategories I'm not going to go into, but you have some subcategories that are like Erva, like this, but it's yellow, it's aged, and a slightly larger cut. So I think they call that a PU1, the technical name. I call that a gaucho cut, personally. I know the Brazilians and the Paraguayans and the Argentinians are all mad at me when I say this word gaucho cut. Yes, I invented this term, gaucho cut, because for me, I needed a term to describe this hybrid, this in-between Yerba and Erva. I call that a gaucho cut. And the gaucho cut actually has a lot of important brands inside of this cut. So you have Canarias, you have Del Salvador, you have Sarah. These are all what I consider gaucho cut. And a gaucho cut is a hybrid between a Yerba and an Erva. So basically it's like an Erva, but it's coarser and it's aged longer. So many of these gaucho cuts, they age it for like 2 months, 3 months, sometimes even 6 months, like Kelly Yakui. And it produces like a sweet, nutty flavor profile. Really interesting. If you never had it, try Canarias or try Del Salvador. That's a little harder to get. That's a gaucho cut. So, yes, I'm going to think about what else to talk about. But let me take a couple sips. Just a Saturday evening. Taking it easy today. I felt like I needed to make a video. It's been too long. I had these made in 2020. These are actually gold. This is the original Circle of Drink logo. And it's a little emblem. Pretty cool. I was thinking about selling these. But it's kind of too late now since we changed the logo. So we'll see. I don't know. My girlfriend is sensitive with caffeine. I want her to join on drinking mate. Which brand would you recommend for me and her? Great question. So different brands have different caffeine levels, but again, you really wouldn't know because nobody states the caffeine levels, myself included for the most part. On one of my brands, I did state the caffeine level, the Brazil Traditional. But a good yerba mate with a low caffeine, I would say would be Liebig is good. Plajadito is kind of low caffeine. Even Anna Park, I would say, has a low caffeine. The easiest way to produce a low caffeine yerba mate would be to blend it with calming herbs like chamomile, lemon balm, catnip. That will cut the caffeine in half easily. So yeah, I would say for a quick low caffeine yerba, I would go with Liebig. Very good mate from Argentina. Why did I change the logo? Well, this is more of a business and branding discussion, but since I didn't continue those videos yet, I haven't done one of those videos in a while about the starting your own tea business, I'll just press upon this really quickly. Why did I change the logo? First of all, I love the original Circle of Drink logo. I love it. It's great. It's beautiful. But the problem with the original Circle of Drink logo, as much as I love it, it doesn't print very well. What do I mean by printing very well? It's not set up in a way where when you laser it on things or you produce different types of stickers, the way that the logo was set up, it just doesn't really capture the brand properly like I wanted to, as prominently as I would want to on gourds and things like that. So I needed a logo that was easier to translate on various mediums, whether that be paper, stationery, cups, thermoses, billboards, TV, whatever it may be. I needed to kind of take that sacrifice and had to sacrifice the original logo in order to gain the future, in order to gain where I'm trying to go into the future. So yeah, as much as it hurt to kind of retire the original legacy logo, and don't worry, all you guys out there who has the logo on your gourds and all that, that's even great. Those items are going to be worth even more in the future because that's the legacy logo, which will never be printed again. So hold on to those items. I guarantee you they're going to be worth something in the future as Circle of Drink continues on. So that's basically, it was more of a branding issue, to answer your question, Brian. It was a branding issue that I had to really consider to move into the future. I needed a simpler logo that would translate better on various mediums. So now we have a new logo system that has different aspects of the logo. We have the one with the C and the dot. We have the one that just says Circle of Drink with the cursive of in the middle. And then we have the one that says circle and then of in the middle, then drink. So it's stacked. And then we have a green dot. Whenever you see the green dot, that's a signifier. That's a symbol for Circle of Drink that represents the circle. So you're going to start to see a green dot everywhere. If you go to our new website, circleofdrink.com, we just recently redesigned it. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. If you find any bugs or issues, email me, support@circleofdrink.com if you find any issues with the website. And if it's a real issue, I will give you like a pound of mate. You know, I'll make your day. I'll give you a really nice bombisha or something. So whoever's watching this, if you find any issues on circleofdrink.com, whether it's on your mobile device or on your computer, anything that's broken, anything that's wrong, anything that doesn't work, email me at support@circleofdrink.com. And if it's a real issue, thank you so much for letting me know, and I'll make your day with an amazing bombisha or mate, whatever it is. I'll make you happy. All right? So that's an open invitation. Even after this video is produced, whoever's watching this video, it could be 10 years into the future. It could be tomorrow. It could be tonight. Let me know. I'd appreciate that. So we have another question. Oh, Danny's asking. Let me finish Danny's question. Is it too small to print? Yeah, so basically, how do I explain it? The logo didn't scale. That's the word I want to use. It didn't scale very well. There's too much going on for this to scale very well. Too much going on. When you have a logo with too much going on, it could be cool. It could be creative. It could be awesome looking. That's okay. But you have to find the balance between cool, creative, awesome with functionality, practicality. So if you notice all major, not to say that I'm following other brands, but all major brands that we see today start off with like a complicated logo or a logo that was like all different things going on. And then over the years, it started to become simplify. And the value of the company never went down. People still understood the company. Same thing with Circle of Drink. We're evolving. We're going into different directions. So I had to sacrifice some of that fun aspect, some of that, cool, arty aspect for more functionality, for more practicality in terms of reaching a wider audience. Which is true, but it's also a little bit ironic because Circle of Drink has never really gone after everybody. We're not going after everybody. Admittedly, I'm the first person to admit we sell the most expensive yerba mate on the planet. Tons of people on the internet, you'll see, ridiculing me, ridiculing Circle of Drink, talking about, oh, it's so expensive, he's crazy, he's trying to rip people off, he's crazy. You know, I hate to keep on hashing that up, but this is a good business example. I'll tell you right now, we have the most expensive yerba mate on planet Earth. That's a fact. And I will readily and easily and openly admit that. That's because we have the highest grade, we put in the most energy, we don't sacrifice anything when we're producing our yerba mate. We spend a ton of money to get the best. That's always been the mentality of Circle of Drink. I don't care how much it costs. If I want to get the best vanilla, I'm going to get it. If I'm going to get the best wood to make the best gourds in Jamaica, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to pay top dollar for that product. I'm going to pay top dollar for the best person to do my laser engraving. 5 times more than they charge other people. So all that gets translated into the value. all of that gets translated into the value of every single Circle of Drink product. That's why we have the most expensive stuff on the planet Earth. Because we're not sacrificing. It's not just about selling things to people. It's about, listen, we're offering the best, what we consider the best. And if you'd like to partake in that, then great. But you don't have to. You don't ever have to buy one single product from Circle of Drink, because more than the products, this is a community of yerba mate drinkers. For the first 3 years of Circle of Drink, I did not sell one product. I took 3 years out of my life, and all I did was study yerba mate. You guys remember back in the early days when Circle of Drink was just a blog. There was not one product for sale on it. It's just a blog. It was like this ugly site. It was okay. It was just threw together. And it was just me in Argentina. I had a notebook, and I was just making notes and talking about different brands. I was the first person to come up with a grading system, a 25-star grading system that now other people use. That's great. To describe yerba mate flavor, the cut. That's how it all started. People literally were begging me to start this company to sell them yerba mate. At the time, Guayaquil, Eco Teas, they were giving me free mate. Tons of free mate, and I was giving it away to people because I had so much. And then people were like, Dave, why don't you make your own mate? Make your own mate. And that's how I started the company. When people were like, make your own mate. That's how I started. So, I knew from the beginning that I wasn't going to compete with Guayaquil. I wasn't going to compete with Eco Teas. I didn't want to compete with them. I wanted to do something totally different than what they were doing. I wanted to go after a different set of people. I wanted to go after the intelligentsia. I wanted to go after the intellectuals. I wanted to go after the writers and the painters and the artists. I wanted to go after the construction workers who need a little bit of boost so they don't have to drink coffee all day long. I wanted to go after the people who understood that, yes, I'm paying more money, but I'm getting what I pay for. I'm getting a quality service. I'm getting the assurances that if anything goes wrong with any one of my products, I'm either going to get 100% money back refund, or I'm going to get a credit, or I'm going to be able to return my stuff, no problem. I've always wanted to build a company where there's no friction. If there's any problem whatsoever, because I hate going to the store. I literally hate going to the store and having a hard time returning something, or having a hard time getting in touch with the customer service department, or having a hard time, say something went bad and getting an exchange. I always told myself I never, ever want anyone to ever feel that way with Circle of Drink. Nobody. And those of you who know me and know my company, customer service, you ever have an issue, any problem, I don't care if it's 10 years later, you'll get your money back, or you'll get a new Gourd for life, for the rest of your life. Anything that happens for the rest of your life, if that Gourd breaks, I don't care what happens. There's no problem. There's no friction. You're going to get your money back, or you're going to get a new Gourd, or we're going to work something out. Because the last thing I would ever want to do is to make a customer uncomfortable, or to rip somebody off, or to, create friction in this, relationship. I can't just be transactional. It has to be a relationship. So, I always knew I always wanted to go my own route with Circle of Drink. I didn't want to follow everybody. Nowadays, we got a lot of mate companies. All they're doing is following everybody else. It's like the blind leading the blind. Oh, let me just throw together this blend and, sell it for $10 and it's the worst quality. Who cares? I don't even drink it myself. I'm just selling it. I just want to make money. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? No, everything matters. In this company, everything matters. In this community, everything matters. The community matters. The customers matter. So for those of you who look at our prices and we're like, this is crazy, that's just kind of like my history. I'm trying to explain to you what's going on with Circle of Drink. Why do we price things the way that we do? Hope that gives you a little bit of understanding of what's going on. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that, brother. Alvaro, what's up? Yeah, the Guayaquil logo. Yeah, it is pretty elaborate. I like it. I think they actually simplified it over the years a little bit. But it definitely works for them. I think it works pretty well. Also, anyone watching this who runs a mate company, why do you put the accent on the E? I don't even think, and for all of you guys out there who are uh, uh, language professionals, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's grammatically incorrect to put the accent on the E for mate. That just doesn't work. That just means killed in Spanish, like mate, killed, past tense. I don't know why everyone's always using the accent on the E. I don't think that's grammatically correct, but who knows? Go figure. Salud. Can you ship a turkey to Turkey? Yes, I could ship to Turkey as long as FedEx goes there, USPS goes there, DHL goes there. I'll ship it anywhere in the world. Ah, okay. It's grammatically incorrect. Thank you, Brian, for confirming. I thought so. So, I don't know what it is, guys. I just think it's magic. I just think mate does something to you. I don't know what it does to you, but it does something to you. You drink it and you just feel better. You feel good. You feel ready. You feel, let's go. Let's make this happen. I don't know what it is. But for those of you guys on the fence about yerba mate who are watching this, buy it anywhere you can. Go to a bodega. Go to your local Hispanic food store. Go to Whole Foods. Go to circleadrink.com. Go to goyerbamate.com. Go to guayaki.com. Go to yerbamate.com. Go anywhere. Get yerba mate from anywhere and just try it. Give yourself a couple days, give yourself a couple weeks of trying yerba mate, and I think it's going to be a life changer. It's going to be a life changer. It just works. It works on every single level. Powerful stuff. Salud. Awesome stuff. Wow, we had some followers today, some viewers on this video. That's cool. Let me run through a couple of these comments. How long does it take to notice the effects of yerba mate? I noticed the effects right away. That's just me. But I would say, generally speaking, give it like 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and you'll start to really feel that uptake. You start to really feel that energy. You'll just feel like, whoa, like I got a little more pep in my step. I would say 10-15 minutes. For those of you that are super sensitive, you're going to feel it right away. Right away. Some people ask me, do you drink mate literally all day long? There were times, several years, when I would literally wake up and take a sip from the gourd that I had the night before. And then, I would make 2 or 3 gourds throughout the entire day. And then the last thing I did before I went to sleep would be to drink a couple gourds of yerba mate. So there were at least 7 or 8 years where the entire day I literally drank yerba mate, the entire day. Nowadays, I will usually stop drinking mate around 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I'm done. That's just right now. Some of you guys saw me in my videos back in 2020 when I was living in Porto Alegre, and I was making these Instagram videos. You probably saw me, those of you guys who are awake, at like 1 o'clock in the morning, making little mate videos in my kitchen. 12 o'clock in the morning, making mate videos in my kitchen. You remember those pictures I was sharing with you guys when I was in Porto Alegre? So it just really depends on what era in your life are you right now. Something just tells me to stop drinking mate like around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Maybe I'll drink a couple glasses of wine around that time to kind of wind down. But there'll be other moments in my life, particularly when I start, because I go through moments like, it's kind of weird, but there's times when I stop drinking alcohol. Totally. There's times when I'm like, all right, I'm going to go for like 6 months. I'm not even going to have one sip. Not because I drink a lot. I hardly drink at all. But there are times when I test myself and I'm like, listen, I'm just not going to drink at all for like 6 months. Because when I stopped drinking, I noticed that I'm actually smarter. Yeah, when I stopped drinking alcohol, I actually am smarter. Yeah, I've tested this. Like, I've literally tested this for like 10 years. It makes sense, right? It's not, rocket science. It just makes sense. It's obvious. You're healthier when you stop drinking alcohol. Your brain can function better, and in turn, you will think better, and in turn, you'll have better ideas. So in turn, you'll be smarter. So there are times when I just stop drinking alcohol, and then usually when I stop drinking alcohol, I drink more yerba mate, surprisingly. And those are the times when I drink yerba mate, probably like 10 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. So I go through moments when I test myself with different things. What else do we got here? If the first gourd is meant to be thrown out, or should we drink it? Okay. So there's like an old Argentinian, Paraguayan tradition where when people make the first gourd and they use what I call dummy water, I had to invent that word too, dummy water, to temper the mate. A lot of times people will drink the first one and just spit it out. Nah, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that. I drink it all. I drink it all. I'm not wasting mate spitting it out. Spitting out gold? Nah, that's crazy. So I don't care about the whole dummy water, spitting out the mate and throwing out. I don't do all that. A couple years ago, when I first learned about yerba mate, I was following all the traditions to a T. But then I realized, listen, I can make up my own traditions. I don't have to follow all these Argentinian traditions. I don't have to follow these Brazilian traditions. I have my own mind. I can make up my own traditions. All this thing about the hemisphere switching, Circle of Drink created that hemisphere switching. We created this term, hemisphere switching. Cycles, we created the term cycles. Gaucho mate created that term. Matejuana, which is the combined effect of marijuana and yerba mate, matejuana, we created that term. Many terms had to be created because they didn't exist. Double action bombisha created that term. Spoon bombisha created that term. These are all terms created by Circle of Drink. So if we would have just followed the rules and regulations of Argentina and Brazil and Paraguay and Uruguay around yerba mate, I honestly believe there would be hundreds of thousands less yerba mate drinkers in the United States and Europe right now if we followed those hardcore, rigid traditions. Because they're not easily translatable, the hardcore traditions of Argentina and Brazil and Paraguay. They're not even in English. They're all in Portuguese and Spanish. So a company like Circle of Drink was the bridge between these worlds, the bridge that had to translate and transliterate all these terms and words from South America and put them in a way and phrase them in a way that could be easily digestible by native English speakers in Europe and North America, Canada, what have you. So that's what kind of brought us to where we are today in this current evolution of yerba mate. Let me check my text. Okay. Yerba mate drinkers, yerba mate customers coming through. That's what I like. You spit it back to the earth, Danny. I like that. That's good. That's well said, man. I love giving yerba mate back to the earth. Whenever you recycle, you're done with yerba mate, don't throw it in the garbage, though admittedly sometimes I do, unfortunately, because in this complex apartment, I have to put stuff in the garbage. There's no, garden. But I really like to compost yerba mate. I like to give it back to the earth right away, compost it, get it right back, and the plants love it. Really, really do. Just don't put the mate in ponds, and don't put it in lakes, because I think it could technically hurt the fish because of the saponins. I could be wrong. All of you biologists, double check what I'm saying, but I think that the saponins could be dangerous to the fish. I think so. So Zach wants to know if I could talk about my journey with Erva. It seems like I'm mostly drinking Erva. Yes. So, like I said before earlier in this video, The Brazilians, they're amazing people. Like, oh my God, they're so different. I think that the Argentinians, I can relate to the Argentinians a little bit more though, because they're more like a New Yorker, the Argentinians. What I like about a lot of people don't like the people from Buenos Aires. The people from Buenos Aires are very different from the people of the rest of the country of Argentina. They're more like harder, rougher people, but I kind of understand them better because I'm from the city, I'm from New York, and I understand that they're not necessarily trying to be difficult or try to be harmful. It's just who they are. So I've always related very well to the Buenos Aires people, the Porteños, because I kind of understand them. So I don't take anything personally when I'm dealing with them. But a lot of the rest of South America don't really take so well to the Porteños, to the people living in Capital, in the center, in Buenos Aires, because they're very particular about their outlooks on life. They're very outspoken. The and this all I'll tie this all in a second. The Brazilians I've been spending a lot of time with for the past 2 years. I've been living in Brazil for about 4 months every single year for the past 2 years. And the Brazilians just have a whole totally different vibe to them. And they're just really laid back people, almost too laid back to some degree, like to the point where they're like, let's meet at 1 o'clock. And then you go there at 1 o'clock and then it's like 1:30 and they're like, oh, oops, don't worry, 2:30. So then it's 2:30 and they're like, oh, 3 o'clock. That's very like Brazilian, they're just like whatever goes. So I was very intrigued by that personality when I was there, and it actually I was like enamored with it. And that coincided with me learning about Erva. I was hanging around people who were just like, party, let's chill, let's drink mate, Erva. And they started to teach me more about Erva. This is in 2020, because 5 years prior to 2020, I was still drinking Erva like a couple times a year, but I wasn't very good at making it, and I was always getting a little bit frustrated with it, and I was like, nah, Yerba's my life, Yerba, Yerba, Yerba. But then it wasn't until 2020 when I went to Porto Alegre, and I kind of linked up with different people, and these people took time, and they invited me to their homes, and they invited me to their shops, and they invited me to the parks, and it was like Argentina all over again, but now in Brazil. And the Erva just captured me, just like the feeling, the effects of the Erva was like, whoa, this is totally different. This is a whole other vibe, totally different vibe. And I just couldn't stop drinking it. So to this day, I drink Erva every single day because it just does something to me differently than the Yerba. But when I have a craving for the Yerba energy, it can't be produced anywhere else other than the Yerba. So then I go to the Yerba. But the Erva, it's just right now, it's kind of like my thing, the Erva. I'm just drinking a lot of it. I'm learning more about it. I'm becoming an expert on it. I'm incorporating it into my new book. For those of you that don't know, I've been working on a book for 10 years, actually. For 10 years, I've been writing a book on yerba mate. It's almost written like in a diary format. And it goes into 100 different brands. And it's like my personal relationship with 100 different brands of yerba mate. The book is basically done. I just have to design it and do the, print it and all that sort of stuff. Typeset it. Bring in some designers, bring in some illustrators. But I've been writing that book for 10 years. For 10 years, I've been working on that book, and it's finally going to be released. I don't know when. Hopefully next year. I don't know when. But just know it's going to be a crazy book. It's going to be like a diary entry on 100 different brands of yerba mate. My personal relationship with these 100 different brands. So, Richie, love you too. What's going on? Gladdy, how's it going? Nice to see you. Yes, 7 to 8 years. You've been watching since then. Thank you so much. Federico Corupi, salud. Yeah, elderberry CBD. Elderberry CBD. Have any of you guys ever tried CBD? We make a couple blends with CBD. CBD is a compound derived from the cannabis plant. It's non-psychoactive, so you're not going to get high or anything like that. It just makes you super calm. It kind of just melts all the stress from your body, all the stress from your muscles. It helps you sleep better. We have 4 different flavors of Yerba Mate CBD on circleofdrink.com. Check them out if you want to try that. And again, guys, 35% off. Everybody watching this video today, 35% off the entire website. Use the code Matero35, and that's going to be valid until Monday. So 3 days. Matero35. Use that code. Save 35% off only for you guys watching this video. I'm not going to share that code with anybody else. What are my thoughts on Canarias? I think Canarias, let me tell you guys my story. I already told you guys the story, but you know me, I'm always repeating stories. I'm a storyteller. 2009. Yeah, 2009. Was it 9? Oh my God, yeah. 2009, after a couple months of living in Argentina, I was asking my friend Flor, really nice girl. I was like, what's up with this brand Canarias I keep on hearing about? Where do I get it? She's like, oh, the only place you could get it is that really dangerous area. You got to go to a dangerous neighborhood and walk to this store called Coto. Coto is a brand it's a supermarket brand in a chain in Argentina. So I'm kind of crazy. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to take a taxi. I'm not even going to take an Uber. I'm just going to walk there, see what happens. I've always lived on the edge, you know, so there was no difference that day. I wanted to go see if I can make it to the store unscathed. And people always talk about danger in South America. Danger, danger, danger. Yes, there's danger there. But is there enough danger not to go to a certain... Well, yeah, there probably is enough danger not to go to a certain neighborhood. Yeah, that's true. But some people take it too far. Like in South America, for instance, I had some friends in Brazil. And maybe some of them are watching this, I don't know. But if you are, no offense taken. But there were times when we would be at a restaurant in a really nice area that I've walked to and been around and no problem. But I had some American friends that were literally scared to step outside of the restaurant and wait for their Uber. They were so scared to even do that. And I'm thinking like, what? Nobody's going to rob you. Nobody's going to hurt you. Just go get your Uber. Go live your life. And don't get me wrong, I understand the dangers of Brazil and Argentina. I've seen the dangers there. But I think that Americans and Europeans, North Americans and Europeans, they exaggerate the dangers there. There's danger everywhere you go. And yes, there's a lot of petty crime there. But as long as your emotional and social IQ is high, nothing's going to happen to you. As long as you're smart and you're aware, situational awareness, nothing's going to happen to you. But if you're out there and you're on your iPhone and you're screaming in English and you're wearing gold and you got tons of jewelry on and you're just looking like, you know, like, oh, yeah, hey, what's up? Saying hello to everybody, you're going to get robbed. But apart from that, nothing's going to happen to you. Just be smart. So I made it to this neighborhood, and I was like, nothing happened to me. I went to the store, and I brought back a kilo of Canarias, and I drank it, and it was amazing. I was like, whoa, Canarias. This is really good stuff. So back then, for a long time, Canarias was my favorite brand. They grow it in Brazil, in the southern part of Brazil. It's grown in the rainforest, essentially. It's grown under the canopy. High quality. It's smooth. It's malty. It's rich. I think Canarias is an excellent, excellent brand. I always speak highly of Canarias. Try it out. Zane, what's up, brother? Salud. I'm always preaching that good word, bro. Always preaching that good mate word. Haven't seen you in a while. What are your top quality brands for Uruguayan mate? Sarah's high quality. I love it. Canarias, you know, when we carry it once in a while. I don't think we have any now, but we carry it once in a while. Del Salvador is a brand that I really miss. We used to sell that brand. The company stopped exporting it to the United States, so it's very hard to get now. But Del Salvador is one of my favorite gaucho mates. And, of course, Galaxy. Circle of Drink's own Galaxy. I love amazing gaucho mate. Someone's asking me, how was it recommended to them through the YouTube algorithm? I have no idea. I don't know. The algorithm is dynamic, so the algorithm is based upon your own activity. It's not a absolute situation. So that's the way that the algorithms work. It's dynamic to you and your own activity. So, good question. I'm not sure how it got recommended to you, but hey, you made it. Jay, what's up? You missed my videos. Thank you. I should do them more often. I really miss doing these videos. I've just been like so busy with things. So busy that sometimes, when I get back, I'm just like so tired. I'm like, oh man, I can't make a video. Even though I want to make a video, I couldn't make a video. It's just an energy thing, I'm juggling like 20 different projects right now, and thank God I have the mate to help me do it. Working on like literally 20 different projects simultaneously right now. Different branding projects, different blends, creating new products in Brazil, just a million different things. I'm consulting with other companies right now, doing a lot of different things, I'm involved in different things. So, yeah, I would love to make more videos. Hopefully, I start to make more videos. I got a lot of really good ideas on how to show you guys how to prepare the Erva better. I want to do like a 180-degree view of preparing the Erva. And I just want to get back into these videos when we talk about philosophy, talk about life, talk about all different things. You guys remember back in 2014, we had those crazy videos. You had those crazy mate circles where it was like 20 people, and we were all part of the chat. We were all talking for hours, and people were just chiming in, chiming out. Yeah, I miss those days. We should try to do that again. Yes, I could definitely ship to Turkey. I'm not sure how long it'll take. When I'm shipping to that region, it could take as few as 10 days to as long as 20 or 30 days. It just really depends on the customs office of your particular country, how readily they accept and clear the package. But yeah, as long as USPS goes to your country, or FedEx goes to your country, or UPS goes to your country, we could ship it there. We ship to over 35 countries. Whoa, this has been a nice circle. My God, 1 hour and 20 minutes. Power circle. This is what I call a power circle. I want to ask you guys something. I'm always curious. When you say the word world, what is the world? Is the world the earth? Is the world an idea? Is the world the universe? What does this word mean, world? This is a question I always ask everybody I encounter. What do you mean by the word world? I want you to think about that. What is the world? Is it your own world? Is it our world? Is it both worlds? Is it the earth? Is it the universe? What does this word really mean? World. I think that's a good meditation. Another meditation I like is called death. We all have an expiration date on the planet Earth, our physical bodies at least. This physical form, this biological suit is going back to the Earth one day, who knows when. 10 years, 10, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, I don't know. So it's kind of scary when you think about that, but it's also kind of liberating. Because if you think about, okay, well, this body has to go away. It has to go back to the earth where it came from. It kind of makes you think about time. It kind of makes you think about, am I wasting time? Am I making the best use of my time? Am I living just to make other people happy? Am I living to make myself happy? Am I living to fulfill my mission here on earth? When I think about death and I remind myself about like this whole idea of this body must go back. Dave Mate, as he is known now in this body, will disappear one day. Gone. But will I be gone? I don't think so. No. No, 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 no. I won't be gone. The body will be gone. This fun little experience, 80 years, little blip, will be gone. But since it's a blip in time, a little blip in time of the universe, it makes you really think about time. Are you wasting time? Are you making good use of your time? What is time? Is this something we made up? What is a memory? Sometimes I think about memory. I don't really think memory is what we think it is. I really don't think so. I don't think memory is what we think it is. I think it's something else. 1 second. I got a phone call. Hello? Yeah, this is it. Hey, what's going on? Okay. Sorry guys. That was a call I had to take. I want you guys to think about memory. I'm just throwing some things out there. What is memory to you? What is memory? What is the purpose of memory? What is memory? Think about memory. What is the world? Somebody said in this comment, the world equals countries. Okay, cool. Think about the world. Now, think about purpose. What is your purpose here on earth? Do you have a purpose on earth? My own belief, my own world, my own thinking is that yes, I do believe that I chose to come to earth. I know that sounds crazy, but I think that I chose to be here. I think that everyone that's here sharing this experience chose to be here. Chose to be here. Why did you choose to be here? I don't know. But I think that you have a mission here. I think that you have a purpose here. And I think that your existence here functions as some sort of catalyst, some sort of solution, some sort of realization that you must realize, or you must do, or you must embark upon. Now, I mentioned this a couple of videos ago, which probably translates to a couple of months or a couple of years ago. There's a book called Journey of Souls. Yeah, Soul Contract. Yeah, I like that. Read this book called Journey of Souls. Everybody watching this, please read this book. And read it with an open mind. Journey of Souls. This book, this is like one of my Bibles. It goes into past life regression. What happened in your past lives? What happened in the life before you are living, before the one you're living now? And during those past life regressions, people begin to realize all sorts of things. Like, why are you the way you are today? Why are you scared when you walk on the street? Why are you angry? Why are you racist? Why are you sexist? Why do you do harm to people? Why do you harm yourself? Why do you hate yourself? Why do you only love certain people? It's like, why are all these things a part of who you are? Now, on one level, yes, it has a lot to do with, your parents, how were you raised, your environment. But I think also there's another variable, past life. What happened in the past life that you brought into this life? Now, I'm not trying to go against anyone's religions or anything like that. I know some people, when I talk about this, they're like, Dave, don't talk about that. That's bad. We're gonna go to hell when you talk about those things. But no, I'm not worried about all that. For me, there is no hell. Hell is what you make it. Heaven is also what you make it too. When you leave the body, I don't believe there's any judgment. I don't believe in any judgment. Doesn't matter what you do on this earth. When you leave this earth, you will not be judged. But don't fall into nihilism. That doesn't mean you could do anything you want without consequences. Don't fall into nihilism. Everything still has consequences, but I do believe that you don't get judged when you leave this earth. You don't. There's nobody to judge you. Though, depending on what happened here during this experience, there will be harmony. Must be achieved. Harmony must be achieved. That's all I'll say. That's what I believe in. Harmony must be achieved. So whatever you did here that maybe took you over the top in a quote unquote negative way, you must achieve harmony eventually. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Not for me to say. But I do believe that whatever you did, whether it be good or bad, the balance will be achieved ultimately. How that balance will be achieved, not for me to say. Whether that means you come back as a bird that continues to break its wing for 1,000 years, or you come back as, a person that has a very short, painful life for another 20,000 years or 10,000 years. I don't know. Maybe you come back as an angel. You're an angel. Because you did so many good things, now you're an angel. And you can come back and advise other people, advise other energies here. I've always had this kind of mystical, I don't know what to call it, mystical experiences I've had since I was a young child. When I was very young, I was able to see things, things that defy reality, that if you were to see them, you'd freak out. You'd be like, what the heck? For 2 years, from 7 to 9, I was able to see certain, what I call energy. I was able to see energy walking, see energy, different energy forms, doing different things. And that's what really made me realize, wow, I'm a spiritual being. The fact that I could see these things, I'm a spiritual being. And then later on in life, when I came into myself in terms of my empathetic skills, some people on this earth are empaths. They could feel energy very quickly. They could see energy very quickly. And this is a curse and it's a blessing. It's a blessing because you're able to understand and empathize with people very deeply, way more so than anyone else. But it's a curse because you also feel pain very deeply and very easily too. This is the burden of the empath. Those of you who are watching this, some of you may understand what I'm talking about. So now we're talking about metaphysics, as these conversations always turn to, I know. And we're talking about spirituality because I love these things. I love talking about them. What's the best flavor of yerba mate that goes good with taste, but still gives you the benefits of yerba mate? For me, I don't deal with best. Like some people ask me, "What's the best, Dave? What's the best?" I don't deal with absolutes in anything in my life. No absolutes. There's no best. No best. No best. There's different things for different times, different seasons. And then there's also relativity and perception. So your best may be somebody's garbage, and someone's garbage may be somebody else's best. But to speak practically, when you talk about herbs that are good for blending with yerba mate, I could list a few, sure, like cacao, raw chocolate, rooibos, lemon balm, lemon verbena, chamomile, catnip, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, star anise. These 10 different herbs are like some of my top favorite herbs for blending with yerba mate. Yes, of course. Zane said he's going to leave behind the art. Yes. Mind petals. Yes. Mind petals back in the day. Yeah, it's like sometimes I see people that do evil things and negative things, And I say to myself, is this person aware of the evil that they just imparted? Or do they understand that anything negative you do on this planet will have to be rectified eventually? Has to be rectified eventually. Or sometimes I say, well, maybe they're just not aware of the harm that they're doing. They're just not aware. It's just who they are. And then I say, well, is that an excuse? Is that an excuse? Not being aware, is ignorance an excuse? These are some questions I ask myself. For me, I try to conduct myself in a way where everything has consequences. Every good thing, every bad thing, good and bad, these things are all relative, of course, and they're human made, but you know what good is and you know what bad is. You feel it. You just feel it. That's the barometer. It's internal, good and bad. So I just try to live my life in a way where I could sleep at night without thinking about I did something wrong to someone. I did that person bad. I did that person dirty. No. I want to go to bed and say, I lived peacefully today. I went about in peace. I moved in peace. I thought in peace. Now, we're not perfect. That's not always going to happen. But I feel like if you're not aware, if you're not constantly aware of your own mindset, of your own actions, you're not hyper aware of how you're treating yourself and how you're treating others, then it's kind of like a garden that could be overrun with weeds. You got to weed that garden every single day. As Jim Rohn says, to borrow an analogy from Jim Rohn, you have to weed the garden every single day. Otherwise, you're going to lose the garden. You're going to lose the vegetables. You're going to lose the crop. That's what I mean by meditation. For me, meditation is about constantly watching what's going on in my mind, constantly watching my interactions with other people. How am I treating other people? Is this situation going to make me angry and outburst and go crazy? Or maybe it is, but I'm remaining calm and peaceful. I feel like all of our actions have consequences, good and bad. I've always felt that way. So someone's asking me, how do I get by living in Brazil and Argentina? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. If you're talking about like financially or get by like living, immersing myself in the community, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but I just live. When I go to these countries, I'm in a position where I learn the languages. You know, I'm not a master at them, but I learned the languages, Portuguese, Spanish, Castellano, and I assimilate myself into the community as best as I can. And then I have other situations set up, you know, obviously Circle of Drink and other things, other entrepreneurial pursuits that are on like passive, I don't want to say passive income, but yeah, there's different situations I have in my life set up where I could travel and do that and still maintain the business and still maintain, you know, Circle of Drink. So I've always set up my life in a way where I could travel. I always told myself I don't want to be stuck to one particular place for the rest of my life. I want to be able to get up, and if I need to go to Brazil tomorrow and live in Brazil for a month or two, I could do that. I have to be able to have that freedom to do that. So my entire life is set up to do that. Everything that I do is set up for me not to be stuck in one place. So maybe I'll be in New York for a couple months. Then in a couple months, maybe I'll be back in Brazil. Or maybe I've been kind of itching to go back to Argentina. I haven't been to Argentina in a couple of years. Maybe I'll be in Thailand in a couple months, you know, visiting some family in Thailand, you know, like who knows? I don't know. But I do know that I made a conscious decision to set up my life in a way where I could do that. And the only way I'm able to do that is because I decided that's what I want. It's like people don't understand. What you think is real in terms of you get what you think. It's just a matter of time and it's a matter of dedication. It's a matter of taking steps. This may sound like the whole corny show, The Secret, but it's real though. It's real. If you think it, and if you take action towards it, it's already done. You're halfway there. Thinking is halfway there. Anything you want in this world, it's yours already. All you have to do is think it, believe it, take action, And before you know it, in time, you will have anything that you want. I swear that's how it works. That's how it works. It's like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, before I even knew anything about exporting over the seas, like large quantities. I'm talking like large quantities, not like FedEx packages, but like exporting. I didn't know anything about export. I'm talking about sea freight export. 5, 6 years ago, I didn't know anything about it. I was just doing like FedEx air freight, FedEx air, FedEx air. But then I started to write down in a journal for about 150 days. I did an experiment. I took a journal, and every single day I was like, I want to learn how to export. I want to learn how to sell containers of yerba mate. Containers. A container holds anywhere between 20 to 40,000 pounds, maybe more sometimes. 20, 40,000 pounds. And I wrote that down every single day. And every single day I studied. I spoke to people in logistics. I spoke to people who ran freight companies. I spoke to people. I learned. I studied it. I studied it for days, for months. And then all of a sudden I had 2 calls on the same exact day. 2 calls from 2 different companies. And they were like, Dave, I see that you're into yerba mate. Do you have this particular brand, Cruz de Malta? I would like to buy 10 tons of it. Yeah, 10 tons. And I said, yeah, I could get that for you. Give me 50%. And I had 2 companies in the same day. One of them ordered 10 tons and one of them ordered 5 tons. And I got deposits, 50% deposits from both of them. And this is after about 100 days of just telling myself, I want to export on the sea. I want to do containers. And all of a sudden, one day, boom, I was in the game. I was in the export-import game. Just like that. And I said, wow, this is how the mind really works. This is how the mind really works. So imagine this. If you're thinking negative every single day, negative, you're building a negative future. Everything in your future will come out dark. Everything in your future will come out negative. Everything in your future will come out horrible if you're projecting those things. But if you're projecting peace and you're projecting love, you're projecting fairness, you're projecting prosperity, you're projecting wealth, you're projecting anything that you want. You want to travel, you want to fly spaceships, you want to become rich, you want to own businesses, you want to do all that stuff, you want to find love. If you're projecting that, you better strap in because you're going to get it eventually. I swear to you, you're going to get it eventually. And whether it's in this life or the next, eventually you're going to get anything that you want. The mistake people make is that they think that it's all going to come immediately, that it's all going to come in this life. No, I'm thinking about infinity. When I think about longevity, I think about infinity. I think about not only this life, but the next. What you learn in this life will carry on. That's the only thing that will carry on to the next life. What you learn. What happens to your spirit in this life will be the only thing that you could take to the next life. It's the only thing. That's the only thing you could take. You can't take gold. You can't take your cars. You can't take money. That's why be careful when you're pursuing money. Be very careful not to lose your soul when you're pursuing money. A lot of times people lose their soul in pursuit of money. Do not lose your soul for $1. I don't care if someone paid me $1 million. If it had a negative impact on my spirit, I would say, please keep your money. Honestly, I would say, nah, I'm good. Because there's no value that I could put on the health of my own spirit and the health of my own well-being. Money means nothing in the health of my spirit. Nothing. I don't care about it. That's the irony here. I really don't care about money. I really don't care about business. I love them as an art form. Don't get me wrong. I love them as something that I love doing. It's an art for me. I love it. But that's not the most important thing in my experience on this life on earth. The most important thing for me is the spirit. Where is my spirit going? What direction is the spirit going? What is the health of my spirit? That's the only thing I really want to work on, truly. I'm a monk. That's all I really care about, the spirit. What's the nature of my spirit? What's the nature of my interrelations with other people and other energies and other life forms on this planet? Everything else is just a game. Business is a game, guys. Money is a game. Play the games. Play them very well. Some people play them very, 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 very well. You know, being a teacher is a game. Being a nurse is a game. Being an engineer is a game, really. These are all just games. The Earth is a training facility, in my opinion. This entire Earth is one big training facility. That's all that this Earth is. You come here to train. You come here to see what's happening. You come here to experience things. And you move throughout space and time with your group. I believe everyone has a group of energies that they're moving with, that they're helping each other with. Those times when you get ideas and you get sparks of inspiration, I believe these are your group members teaching you things, sharing information. And you guys are traveling through space and time together. That's what I believe. I know that sounds kind of crazy. That sounds kind of whoa, wee, wee, whoa. But you guys know me. I have no fear speaking about these things. I don't care. Some of you may say, circle of drink, crazy, hippie thinking, see you later, I'm getting out of here. That's okay. Because like I said, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to gain customers here. I'm just trying to keep it 100% truthful, 100% real of how I live my life. Somebody's talking about, yes, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. Yes, that's a great book. Powerful book. Somebody asked about the health benefits, the risks of yerba mate as it relates to cancer. Bogus. There's never been one study proving that yerba mate causes cancer. However, there has been some studies showing that mate destroys certain cancer cells. The only danger that mate poses is the danger that any hot drink poses. It could damage your esophagus. And then that could, if you drink anything with boiling hot water, it could damage your esophagus. And that thermal damage could lead to abnormal growth, cell growth in the future. But it has nothing to do with mate itself. It has to do with the hot water. You don't want to drink anything that has boiling hot water. Nothing, not even water, period. No, doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. That's the only danger of mate, drinking it with boiling hot water. No, make the mate with water that's very hot, but not boiling hot water. Or if it boils, cool it down before you drink it. You don't want to damage your throat. Adam Sosa, long time, brother. What's going on, man? Original COD. Adam Sosa in the house. Everyone's always asking me about mind pedals. Mind pedals. Yeah. So mind pedals, if you go to YouTube, you can find it right now, actually. Go to Mind Pedals on YouTube, and that was my original channel. I deleted about 90% of the videos, though, unfortunately, because there were a lot of the videos, you know, quite frankly, I was talking about, like, different psychoactive substances and different journeys I went on. And I just felt like I have such a better, deeper understanding now with those particular things that I need to remake those videos and talk about them differently. So I deleted a whole bunch of the videos on Mind Pedals, but there's still some there. That's my original channel I started back in 08, I think. 08, 09. And it's just me talking about philosophy, me talking about the world, me talking about life, me talking about business, me talking about metaphysics, lucid dreaming, art, science, all the things that I'm interested in. Mind Pedals. It used to be a website, actually. But everyone always, who comes into these videos, they always ask me what's going on with Mind Pedals. I'm shocked people still remember Mind Pedals. Oh my God. That's crazy. I respect that. Yes. Mateo, what's up? Buenos Aires, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. So, yeah, wow, there's some people still up in here. That's cool. I don't even know what to talk about now. We've been going for a while. I think I'm going to go get a bottle of wine soon. Friday night, wind down with some vino. But, yeah, guys, you know, I just wanted to touch base, talk about life, talk about mate. It's always an honor. Thank you guys so much, the entire Circle of Drink community. Thank you for being customers. Thank you just for being here, a part of the community. I I really appreciate you guys. This community is nothing without you. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So Gladys asking a question. Let me answer her question about cleaning the bomba. Okay. How do you clean the bomba? Uh huh. So the bomba, the bombisha, which is the filtered straw that you use, it's called the bombisha in Argentina, but a bomba in Portuguese. The way that you clean it is boil it in hot water for 5 to 10 minutes. Boil it. That'll clean everything. That's a deep clean. Or you could literally just clean it like you would a fork. Just squeeze down some of the soap into the filter and then rinse it well through the filter. And you're gonna clean it. As long as some soap gets in there, it'll sterilize inside the bombisha. Also, if you could screw off the top, the filter of the bomba or the bombisha, some of them you can, many of them you can't. But if you can, you could put down a bombisha brush. A special brush you put down inside the bombisha that cleans out all the grit. Clean that out, rinse it out, and your bomba's clean. But for the deep clean method, I would just boil it. Just boil it in hot water for 5 to 10 minutes. Add a little bit of lime juice or lemon juice, and you're going to have a deep clean. Hope that answers your question, Gladdy. So someone's asking about cannabis, mixing the leaves. Yeah, I think that's going to become popular in the future. But remember, when you just take leaves of cannabis and you mix it with yerba mate, it's not going to have any psychoactive effects. None, little to none. But you will receive the effects that cannabis has in terms of the nutrients. You will receive nutrients from the cannabis if you mix the leaves of the cannabis with the mate. Actually, in Uruguay, there's actually a blend that's doing that right now, but it's only like 2% cannabis leaves. But I do believe as cannabis becomes more legal, it's probably legal in like, I don't know, 60% of the United States right now. At least 50% United States right now, cannabis is legal. We're going to start to see more infusions of cannabis and yerba mate, 100%. Mark my word, over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see dozens, if not thousands, of applications that have the synergistic effects of yerba mate and cannabis. 100%, you heard it here first. Over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see thousands of applications of cannabis and yerba mate working together like this. I have no doubt about that. Yep. I think that's it, folks. Actually, one last time, those of you watching this, use code Metero35. You will save 35% across the board, anything on circleofdrink.com until Monday. So you have 3 days to do it, a little less than 3 days. Use code Metero35 just for you guys, and for wherever you share it, you can share it with your friends. It doesn't matter. But whoever's watching this is going to have access to this video. I'm not going to share it with anybody else. Let me just follow up on any last questions. Yeah, some people are sensitive to caffeine. If you're sensitive to caffeine, two things to take note of. Yerba mate, the caffeine works a little bit differently in yerba mate. Yes, I ship to Sweden, absolutely. And usually the caffeine in mate is slow releasing and there's no crashing effects. Usually, for most people. If you have a hypersensitivity to caffeine, I would try a yerba mate with a low caffeine level, like Plajadito, Liebig, Feather Pillow, Brazil traditional organic yerba mate. You can find most of these brands at circleofdrink.com, or you can find them on Amazon, eBay. Just search around online, you'll find them all. Obviously, I'm going to recommend circleofdrink.com for your yerba mate needs. Of course, salud. And those of you wondering where we ship to, we ship all over the world, 35 different countries. As long as we could ship there, USPS goes there, FedEx goes there, UPS goes there, we'll ship it. And if you have any issues, let me know and we'll make it happen. Thank you. I appreciate you guys, Sprint and Zane, Gladdy. Everybody up in here. David, Richie, MA, D, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Let me finish up on these comments. Psychedelic trips you're talking about. Yeah, like some people, the caffeine is not going to serve them. They can't deal with any caffeine. For me, I feel like my caffeine in my body are like totally infused. Like I could literally drink a big cup of coffee if I wanted to before I went to sleep, and before I go to sleep, and I would sleep like a baby. Caffeine for me doesn't bother me. It wakes me up, and at nighttime, if I do drink it, it doesn't bother my sleep at all. So that's just me, though. I'm not hypersensitive to the caffeine in terms of any negative effects at all. So I find that the caffeine in yerba mate is gentler. It's smoother. It's calmer. It doesn't really bother me. It only helps me. All right, my friends. Salud. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Check us out, circleofdrink.com. Spread the love, spread yerba mate. I hope this video was cool. I hope it worked for you. Have a great weekend. Peace out. Blessings. Salud.